Alright guys, this one is a Patron Special. So, yeah, honestly guys, like, I'm not going to say my name, you guys know who I am. So I guess what I'm going to talk about today is a couple of decks we've been working on, playtesting, kind of my expectations for them. So, 7th OTK, I still personally love, and yes, there are wipers, so I'm sorry, don't hate me, and I'll try to talk louder. So yeah, 7th OTK I still love immensely. It is not amazing if we're going to start looking at a huge aggro format, as well as like big daisy chains of crazy damage. What I mean by that is like if we're playing against Yoda, I think we're perfectly fine, because we need about 2 rounds to really do stuff. If we can get to the 3rd round unimpeded, the game pretty much ends. Like, if you go to the first 2 rounds, we don't have to worry about like dying, and then the 3rd round you could just like smash down like a Rise Again or something, or still not concerned with 7th dying. I think you just win the game right there, because you can set up much more easily. When you're playing as an aggro deck though, you either need to A, combo early, and kind of pray to take a guy off the table to reduce the aggression, and then like pop a Rise Again, or B, kind of like sack into the Rise, or just like block and set up for it. And we do not have a bunch of defensive measures. We can sit there and disrupt and grab shields, but some of the decks just kind of tear through that stuff. So it's not going to be a fun time if we're playing against a bunch of like Qui-Gon Yodas or like Yoda Zebs with like all-ins and stuff, because Yoda is a huge enabler. So as long as they can feed an upgrade or 2 down, an all-in off of like just a special could go like special into focus, double focus. Oh, okay, go take 7, and it's not hard to take a few, you know, hits of damage early on and then just get 7'd out of the game. So I could be very wrong there. That could end up being like a very solid match for us, if they kind of just take too long. But I've kind of been feeling that like because I put Zeb Yoda together recently, played it, and I wouldn't say I enjoyed it as much as it seemed like another combo deck, because I was constantly just like, alright, let me jam down this jetpack and do whatever, or let me jam down this X8 or Vibro Knife. Okay, I'll like get through this turn with like 4 damage, and then the next turn I'm just like, alright, you know, take 8, and I'll like be like at the all-in or force speed, impulsive, whatever, because I'd be showing like 2 damage and they'd be like, oh, okay, this is fine, and then like I'm flipping to 2 3s, and it's just like, oh bueno. So definitely something that is, I think, is going to be on the radar for a bit. I'm going to try to put some time in on Zeb Yoda, and see if the combo potential is there. It's very strong from that standpoint, but it has a glaring weakness, which is the removal of Zeb's die. So the way I'm running it is, and I've like stolen bits and pieces off people. So like I've seen people play Jetpack, I've seen people play like Vibro Knife, but so I'm running Jetpack, Vibro Knife, Ancient, as well as X8. I went away from the big 3 drop upgrade route. There is handcrafted lipo in the deck though, because shields suck. So like the expectation there is that you'll stick down something that can either do 3 damage, or in the case of Vibro, is just slide straight under Force Illusions and shields. And shields and Force Illusion are very big as always. So the Vibro Knife daisy chains into resolving can kind of just remove table off the board and set someone so far behind they lose. And then you have backup plans in both Force Illusion and Second Chance, Caution, as well as like you get the very good removal that is Easy Pickings, which is pretty monstrous of a card. So the deck seems solid so far. You don't have to worry about like guards and Force Misdirection, but because you don't have guard and Force Misdirection, you don't have those blowout turns. So you could run into mono blue, and then they roll out, now you roll out, and then all your dice are gone, or like a big chunk of your dice are gone. And if that happens, like your whole round is wasted. If you roll out and then they guard all of Zeb's dice, like that's it. That's the round. So there's a huge glaring weakness with it. But depending on what the format looks like, that could be a very, very good deck. Trying to think, the jetpack and being able to like Yoda chain into the special to remove melee is very strong. So like if you're concerned with like force misdirection and guard, you can roll out Yoda first and have put the jetpack on him, so then you can just switch into the chain and eat whatever die and grab a shield on the way. So definitely some options there for like counterplay from that, as well as the fact that like X8 isn't hampered by force misdirection. Neither is jetpack. Sorry about that. And ancient light bow is usually not capable of being hit by that unless it's off of like a force speed or Yoda special. So we'll kind of just see where that takes us. But Zeb Yoda looks very strong right now. Ayla vehicles, still adjusting parts, but I've put Resistance Bomber back in. ETA2 went to a 2 of, and the deck seems to be doing pretty well right now. In playtesting, it really feels like my guys kind of die a bit faster, so I put easy pickings in for those blowout options, but the paying extra for it can be kind of tough. Played against an Obi Rose the other day, and I wasn't finding the big upgrades, or at least I didn't jam down the big upgrades, and that may have just been my own fault because I wasn't capable of getting enough damage out. I want to say I died with Obi having like 5 health left because I killed Rose and then just like started Y-wing, like Y-wing plowed damage onto him, but he got into the next round he rolled like 9 and just killed my last guy. But so we'll kind of see where that takes us. Ayla vehicle seems very strong though, from like the 3 wide perspectives of it's very stable, and like the protection is very strong because you don't have to worry about losing upgrades when your character dies, because your supports are just relatively large. You can kind of get further. Ayla's usually the first target. The second one is kind of questionable because sometimes it's Ezra, sometimes it's Rose. But we could also try to run like into the garbage chute if we feel that people are being way too aggressive and it's not going well for us. So we'll kind of play it by ear for that. But it usually wins around round 3, because round 1 we'll get like, we'll kind of like ramp, get a little damage, and then round 2 we'll get like a solid, bite of a chunk off while trying to get more stuff. And then round 3 we're usually hitting for like 12 to 14, and that tends to be enough to like finish out whatever's left. Sometimes we get like one of those 20 damage turns because we hit the flanking, so then we flank for like 5, and then it's like, all right, 2 here, 2 here, 2 indirect here, a 3 over here. It's like, oh, that adds up. It's like, yes it does. So we'll kind of just see how that goes. But I have yet to play Tarkin 7th, like play as Tarkin 7th, so I don't know if what they have there is pretty much amazing or not. I like the control aspect of it, and the indirect thing seems very nice, but I've seen people like kind of fall off from it, so I don't know if they were just running too many things that could be considered cute. I mean, just like it does cool stuff, but like you're not winning with it. So we'll kind of just we'll just see where it takes us. But I just wanted to talk about pits. But Tarkin 7th looked pretty solid. Having only those 2 guys and having the capability of losing upgrades upon death is a bit scary, because 7th OTK, if you're doing indirect, they don't care. The disrupt and the damage you bring is very solid there, but it gets tough because the indirect, they just throw it on a dude and then sacrifice, so you can't really actually go and kill 7th easily at all. So that's very concerning. trying to think what other decks I've seen. Qui-Gon Yoda looks pretty scary. I really don't know how good it is, because if you're aggressive enough, it seems like they kind of fall apart. Because they really do the 1,000 cuts thing. And if you bypass shields, it's just like, oh, you know, whatever, Yoda dies, or they can attack Qui-Gon and put out enough damage. The second round is where they try to like start to like stabilize and fight back, but things can get really bad very quickly. So we'll see what we're looking at. There's the new Rainbow Fives. I'm not a really big fan of that, because like you don't have the same stability that you had from before, and we're not seeing a bunch of 3 character decks. So you still have this guy that has, you know, 8 health, and he's relatively weak. You have to have a bunch of dice to chain together, and if you're playing against anything that's hero yellow, like easy pickings like tears that shit apart, because your damages are like 1s and 2s, and you don't really like resolve, and you're like 3 resolve, or 3 resolve. Like, I guess you can now, because the new ones all have base sides, so instead of re-rolling, you like take 2s and stuff. But you can easily get blown out, lose 4 damage from a freaking easy pickings, and then like what do you do after that? You're just like, oh, like crap. So we'll kind of see where that goes. And then like the deck really wants to have odd numbers, but it's too hard to fit more, or it's not too hard, but it's really hard to fit more than like 10 in there. So like you're still only 1/3 chance. Like you're projecting to get the effect once every 3 rounds. So like what is it, just like a benefit at that point? You're not banking on it. I guess versus some of the opponent's decks, you can try to gauge if you can get in there with it, because some of those decks have like a bunch of 1s and 3s, but even then, like, you still don't know. Like, everyone usually has at least like 6 0 cost cards, and villain tends to have like upwards of 10. So kind of just play it by ear. I don't know how many times I just said that today, but all right. That's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Definitely see if you can find any of those legacy lists. Or actually, sorry, the Texas legacy lists, don't put too much emphasis on, just in case, because those could have just been like quickie, like untested lists. We haven't had legacies for very long, so they'll be very unrefined. So don't go in thinking you can't make changes, but I'd say try it out the same way they have it at first, and just see what you dislike before you make adjustments. Retreat looks like a very solid card versus all of the slow decks that are potentially existing right now. So if you have a fast red hero deck, that could be very good. Not as an auto win, but just for, you know, it's a hyperspace jump. Like, it's hard to complain, you know. But alright, so I am going to end the video now. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys on the Discord.